Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. Been a big weekend for our Volunteers, obviously, with Travis Smith committing yesterday. I think it's time for us to kind of regroup, take a look at our big board, but also take a look at all of our commits for the 2025 class. And sounds like EA Sports College Football 2025 will be officially released tomorrow at about 4 p.m. Eastern Time if you got the early release. And there's been more and more leaks, okay? There's a little bit more information about our roster and our overall team ratings. We'll take a look at that as well. But as always, y'all, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, so Nico Iamaleava is rated as an 86 overall in this game. That just got leaked a few days ago. He's got a 97 throw power and is an 86 on speed. I think that they got most of that right. Probably could have made him a little bit faster. I think that just because he takes those long strides, people don't understand this, how fast he is. He's covering a whole lot of ground. I think that he's at least a 4.5 guy. And if you're a 4.5, then you're going to be faster than an 86 on this game, just as far as what I've seen, right? He should at least be in the 90s, but that's just my opinion. I'm not complaining too much, though. I think that they got it pretty close to being right. Now, Arch Manning is rated as an 87 overall. I don't think that he should be rated higher than Nico. If you look at what they've done on the field, obviously Nico has played and Arch Manning has not played. Maybe he's played just a little bit in some mop-up duty, but Nico's actually started in the game. So I think that that kind of speaks volumes. And then even their high school films, you can tell that really Nico is the better player. But again, y'all, I'm not going to be complaining too much about that. Now on to our team, all right? We're seeing that we are in 86 overall and 86 on offense and on defense, and we're actually number 15 in the game. So this is something we had talked about before. Will they change some things before the game comes out? Because, before we were outside of the top 25, and we just didn't see how that could be possible. Now, this is from a beta version of the game, so will this stuff be consistent with what we see tomorrow whenever the game is released? We don't know just yet, but I think that this looks about right. So it makes sense to me. Now, on to our running backs. What we see right here is Dylan Sampson as an 85 overall. He's a 95 on speed, 96 on acceleration, and a 93 in agility. I think that they got that right. That's about as accurate as you probably could have painted a picture of Dylan Sampson. Maybe you could have bumped him up just a little bit in some areas, but I think that for the most part, that's good. Now, Cam Seldon is an 80 overall. He's only a 93 on speed. And for those of y'all that don't know, Cam Seldon might be the fastest player on our team. He's been clocked at a 4.240 at, 230 pounds. So I think that he should be bumped up a little bit more. You probably could put him at least an 85, I would say, if Dylan Sampson is at an 85. So very, very much looking forward to seeing him playing for our Volunteers. And then Khalifa Keith is the third highest running back on our roster at a 76. He's an 86 on speed, 88 on acceleration. I would like to see what his trucking power is. They've got him at an 86 on strength, so he is the strongest running back on our roster. I think that that makes sense. But I think overall his ratings and all that type of stuff, that looks good. Now, Peyton Lewis is a 76 overall as a true freshman. He's a 97 on speed. And you can see over here to the right, they have him listed at 6'1", 200 pounds. He's bigger than that, but he's another track guy, just like Cam Seldon. So if he's at a 97, you would imagine that Cam Seldon should at least also be at a 97, again, if not higher. Now, finally, Deshaun Bishop, who is the redshirt freshman, he is rated as a 75 overall and 89 on speed. I think that he probably should at least be in the low 90s and a 91 on acceleration. I think that you need to put that up too. I think that that's really the best part of his game is that, his first step is really, really quick. And he's also very agile. So I think that they could have bumped him up just a little bit more, but I'm not complaining too much, y'all. This looks a lot more realistic than what we thought we would see whenever Tennessee was outside of the top 25 and everything else. It just did not look like it was going to make any sense. But I'm very excited about this. Y'all let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comment section. All right, so this is our commitment breakdown. And I know that there's a lot going on here, but I'm going to walk you through it. If you look over here to the right, this is On3's breakdown of our class. We're 13th nationally. We're 6th in the SEC. And we have a score of a 90.51. And we have 17 commitments. We have 53% blue chip players on our roster. Now, if you come back to the left, you can see that we have things split up between offense and defense by each position group. So starting off at the top on offense, we have G-Mac. He's the only quarterback that is committed in this class, and he has a rating of a 94.66. Now down to running back, we have one commitment right there, and he has a score of an 87.62. That's Justin Baker. I don't think that we're done just yet. We're still trying to add at least one more running back in this class, probably a bigger body. But at the same time, looks like we are targeting Dwayne Morris, who is a smaller body guy. I think that we want him to play running back. So we'll see how things play out, throughout the entire season. Now on to wide receiver. We have 3 committed in this class so far. Thanks to Travis Smith committing yesterday, I think that we're done right here. We talked about DJ Miller potentially joining this class. But now that we have Travis Smith, I don't see that happening. And that group right there has an average score of a 90.73. And while we're talking about wide receivers, this picture has been floating around of some of our young wide receivers on this team. You can see there's some big bodies. People look like studs. And over here to the right, Nathan Leacock looks huge. But, I'm not an expert on these things, but I will tell y'all what I know. And that's the closer that you are to the camera lens, the bigger you're going to look. So Travis Smith is probably the furthest away from the lens, and Nathan Leacock is the closest to the lens. So just keep that all in mind. And also, you see the three players with jerseys on, they have on cleats, and they're also standing on top of turf. So they're going to sink down some. And then, the players with tennis shoes on, they'll kind of stand more on top of that turf. So, it's not a true to size sort of a thing. But yes, it's some really good looking bodies inside of that room. And man, if Nathan Leacock was a guy that we absolutely loved coming out of high school, if he does step up, if that light does turn on for him, I mean, the young wide receiver talent is just going to be foolish. But at this point, it does sound like I don't know what's going on with Nathan Leacock. Maybe, he just kind of has to get back refocused. So that's something for us to look out for, especially as fall camp, is approaching. Now, on to the next position group, tight end. We have one right here, Jack Van Dorselier, and he has a score of an 89.65. And we would only add one more player as things sit today, and that would be Deshaun Brame. He is coming into Oregon, but as we've talked about, sounds like he might kind of be still flirting with our volunteers. So we could end up with two tight ends in this class, and that score would go up some as far as on three goes. Next, we have the offensive line. We have three commits right there with an average score of a 90.93. So that's actually, that's the second highest position group on offense, right behind GMAC. And, I love that group. We're not done there just yet, right? We still have David Sanders that we hope will end up in this class. Maybe, probably not Josh Petty, but maybe Josh Petty, right? And then also Juan Gasson. I don't know if we would add anyone else. In my opinion, right? Everyone that we add, it's pretty much guard bodies, but they're versatile enough, or not even just guard, but, interior. So guard or center. But I think that they're versatile enough, at least some of them, to play tackle. So, guard was the biggest position of need, heading into this year for this class. So I think that if we do go out and get a tackle, I mean, if it's guys of, that sort of a caliber, this 5-star caliber that are blue chip guys, then yeah, I mean, you might try to bring in all of them or at least two of them, but we really only would need one of them. You know what I mean? So I think that we're fine there. Probably just going to be David Sanders added to this class. And you can see right up under the offense, that scoring green, a 90.71. That is the average score for all of our players on offense. So that would put us into the blue chip ratio. If you look over to the right up under where it says on three player ratings, you can see the different scores for 4-star and 5 stars. And the 4-star goes from an 88.75 to a 95.27. The 5-star goes from about a 95.31 to a 99.08. So that is definitely well in the range of being a 4-star. So that's really good. That is a blue chip offensive class. Now on to defense. We have 3 cornerbacks committed with an average score of an 87.33. And I think that we might be done there. I guess Onis Conenbender would be the last guy that we would add. So on to safety. Definitely want to add at least one more body right here. We do have one player already committed, and his score is an 88.47. Now on to linebackers. We don't have any committed right now. We definitely want to at least get in one. If we could get into, that would be huge. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. But defensive tackle, right? We have 2 of them committed with an average score of an 89.8. That's great. And then defensive end, we have 2 committed there as well with an average score of a 92.51. And then if you come down to the bottom, you can see in green, the 71.62, that's the defensive average rating with linebackers taken into account. And then over there next to it, you're seeing the 89.52. That's if we throw the linebackers out, right? So I just wanted to, do it with the linebackers and with all 5 position groups the same way that we did for the offense, just so that y'all could see how that looked, just to kind of keep things consistent. But what we're seeing is offense and defense, we are recruiting at a blue chip level, as far as on 3 goes. But I would say as far as we are concerned as well, just from watching the film, I love this class, especially whenever you look at the way that it's kind of made up. A lot of the talent is on both fronts. That's where football is won and lost at. And, this is a place that our staff is really taking some gigantic steps forward with, especially just considering how things all started off. And then, obviously looking at the offense, quarterback is going to be huge. Wide receivers are also huge. So is tight end. Running back is going to be very important as well. But, you can see we're doing a great job there. So very excited about it. Y'all let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comment section. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big board as of today's date. All right, so the July 14th big board, starting off with the expected commits right up at the top. David Sanders Jr. We still feel really good about this one. He's set to announce on August the 27th. And I don't think that much has changed. Something that we haven't talked about before, though, is that some people have been speculating on, is this going to be an NIL battle ultimately? Can Tennessee match Ohio State? I think that the question really should be, can Ohio State match Tennessee with NIL? Just because they've already spent so much on their class. They have more players that are already committed, and they have more higher caliber players as well. So I think that Tennessee will have more money to spend, and everything that our insiders have been saying leads us to believe that Tennessee remains in a great spot right here. He did like, Travis Smith committing to our Volunteers. So I think that things are still trending in our favor. He also wants to, I think, be some sort of a, not sports medicine, but some sort of a surgeon or something. I think like an orthopedic surgeon, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know what the difference is as far as the medical schools for Ohio State and Tennessee, but I know that it's, really all about who you know and not so much what you know. So, if he can see, whatever program gives him the best connections that can network him the best, I think that that would give that program the better edge. And we all know, man, that at the University of Tennessee, I mean, we've got a wide network that spans across the entire nation. I mean, I think that the Buckeyes do too. But those are just some of my thoughts as far as what some of the, final factors will be with David Sanders. And as we've talked about before, he's planning on maybe taking some visits at the end of this month. That's going to be where we need to really keep a close eye out on things. So probably, by like the end of this month, heading into August, we should have a much better idea of if we should feel as confident as we do at this point about him coming on home to Knoxville. Next, we have Shady Hayward, and he is a safety from South Georgia. Going to be committing on July the 27th. Feel really good about this one, okay? Haven't heard too many updates. He's been pretty quiet. Haven't seen a whole lot of social media movement. I haven't really been watching social media, though, so I don't know. If y'all have any updates on that, please let me know. But, yeah, I still feel really good about this one. I think that he's been a Tennessee lean for a long time. Austin Price has talked about maybe some guys might be silently committed. I've heard some other insiders say that as well. And I think that he could be one of the guys that is silently committed, that has been silently committed for a while, just wants to let the process play out. Hopefully things will remain the same as far as that goes. Now, next we have Jaden Pilati, four-star linebacker. I don't know what's going to happen with him necessarily. I feel really good, right? Like, let me just say, I feel really good. I just don't know exactly what his timetable is. Or, it sounds like maybe he wants to get something done before the season starts. And I know that Buford starts school August the 2nd. Their first game is going to be August the 15th. But, they'll probably be locked into getting ready for that game, on the beginning of that week. So I think that he's probably going to try to get something done by the end of August. If he is going to flip, I think that it would happen, within the next couple of weeks. It could be any day now, but we're keeping a close eye out for that. As we talked about before, it's going to be huge to get a linebacker or two in this class, but he's one that's so versatile, that just brings so much. He would be a really, really good one, especially just because he fits the prototype for what Coach Inge wants in a linebacker. I just think that it will help him to kind of get a little bit more confidence. Not that he's lacking for it, but y'all understand what I'm saying. Like, it's just going to help him kind of get that ball rolling here in the SEC. And then next we have Christian Gass, who's another four-star linebacker. He's expected to be committing this weekend. Can we beat UGA out 2 weekends back-to-back? Wouldn't that be something? That'd be huge. Now, he is leaning to Tennessee. I think even the Georgia insiders are kind of saying that, well, not necessarily that he's leaning to Tennessee, but at this point, they think that it's a toss-up, So whenever it's a toss-up, what sort of factors are you going to be looking for? I know that for him, the business school is going to be very important. Tennessee has a really good business school. I think that UGA does as well. Maybe he's looking more at the NIL part of it, too. If he's looking at the NIL, Tennessee is going to be paying him more than UGA is. They're going to expect for him to take a hometown discount. Some people don't want to do that, and hopefully Christian Cass is one of them, and he'll be coming on home to Knoxville. If we can get him and Jaden, dude, that's going to be a phenomenal linebacker class for sure. I mean, our linebackers are going to be crazy going forward, for the next 2 to 3 seasons. And then after that, we have Onis Konabani, who is a 4-star cornerback. He's expected to be announcing in the middle of August. That would be huge just to add him to this class. We talked about him before. Now on to the possible commits. Just still, same thing. Josh Petty, feel the same way that we have before. Think it's Florida State. Behind that, it's, us, Georgia Tech, and Stanford. Don't know, what he's going to do, but probably by the end of this month, whenever he gets back from Poland, then, he will be announcing. Hopefully it's going to be to our Volunteers, because he grew up as a Tennessee fan. He has several family members that are big Tennessee fans, but since his sister goes to Florida State, that's probably where he's going to end up at. And then we've got Deshaun Brame, who is committed to Oregon. He is still expected to be visiting us at some point in the fall, going to come up for a game or something like that. talked about his girlfriend is going to be playing soccer at Tennessee, I believe, next season. So I think that helps us out a lot. But he might be having to take a pay cut if he wants to come here. So we'll see what happens as time goes on with him. And then we have Juan Gaston, who is a 4-star offensive lineman, and he is set to announce on August the 2nd or 3rd. And, probably still UGA in Oregon in this one, but I think Tennessee still has a shot. Insiders really just don't have a, solid idea of what he's going to do. So that one could be, really anybody's guess, but that would be huge if we could add him to this class. And like I talked about before, I feel like if we're going to add any more offensive linemen, it would be 2 of these 3. Would we add all 3 of them? I think it's possible, but I don't know. I don't know how the staff feels about that, because now all of a sudden, maybe we're getting a little bit crowded, especially at the tackle position, but I'm all for it. I don't think that you can ever have enough good quality offensive linemen. Now, the last player is going to be Dwayne Morris, who is a USC commit, but he lives in Tennessee. He plays in Tennessee, and he is still expected to be visiting our Volunteers at the end of this month. So we just have to kind of like let this thing play out and see what happens. But I feel great about it. I think that the class so far looks great. I think that it's going to look even better. We're talking about probably top, I would say 7, something like that. I think we're going to be able to get into that, get into that range. But maybe if we can add a guy that we think is a possible commit, then all of a sudden we're talking back about top 5. So I just think that will be huge for the staff. It will be big for a lot of our fan base that are stargazers, but it's really just all about how do these players actually play in real life outside of all these sites and all that stuff. But that's it for this video, y'all. Y'all please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And as always, thank you for sticking all the way to the end. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.